Today we're going to be teaching you about the scientific revolution. Let's break it down real quick. Scientific also obviously has the word science in it, which would lead to will be in science. And the scientific method is what many inventors back then would use to make new inventions and create new ideas. So the scientific method is basically a 6-step method. It would start with observations / questions which you would want to answer with your invention. Next, we have research topic area, which you would do to research about your question or get answers to it. Next, we have the hypothesis, is what your prediction as to what would happen in the experiment. And now you need to test with the experiment is to see if it came out right, if it didn't, which is also what you would do when you analyze the data, is basically to see if it worked and if it fit with your hypothesis. And finally, it's report the conclusions, like tell to somebody else or tell them an idea of what happened in your conclusion overall. Many great inventors like Galileo and Nicholas Copernicus would use the scientific method to discover new planets and also just discover some info that is on the planets. For example, when these guys, Galileo and Copernicus, would create info and find new data, it would go mostly against the Catholic Church and it would not make them happy. And not only did it affect the words in the Bible, it also affected the church, and it would spread around lots of different places around Europe, which would spread the news that stuff in the Catholic Church is wrong, which also made the Catholic Church very mad. Main inventors of the scientific method around the scientific revolution time were Nicholas Copernicus, Isaac Newton, and Galileo, which isn't shown. But Nicholas Copernicus was an inventor that would make observations about planets which Galileo discovered, because Galileo discovered many planets with his telescope, but Nicholas Copernicus studied lots of those planets. And finally, Isaac Newton he figured out what gravity was at the time, so then people could learn more about the gravity on different planets. And finally, we have basically what would be the past to the future. Starting in the past, we have an example. So let's say in the past, before they had the scientific method, they would have very poor quality things. Like, for example, if you use cars, they would have very poor quality wagons. But now, using the scientific method and being able to create new inventions, we have moved all the way to making supercars like this, which are very, very cool. And you can just see here how much we have grown.